Welcome to Chain Gang Sports. I'm John Pope.
I'm Alicia Pope.
And we got with us this awesome young man who obviously races. What's your name?
Braxton Rupp.
You don't need any introduction, though, do you? So, hey, we are not at Citizens Bank or Rogersville Studios. Braxton allowed us to come out because this is a really cool shot and get around his equipment so we can talk about it. But this show
we even get to sit in race car seats right here.
Real quick question off the topic. This is really a good position for your arms right here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So you're up on that?
My new one comes out to where my ribs are at, so I can just rest down on it, and then it'll have one that comes around my head.
That's awesome, man. I had so many questions, but so you're going to have to keep me on track, Alicia. Hey, real quick, I want to say update on the boys and girls basketball. We are heading to
Harrisburg. So Friday night, the boys will be playing Father Tolton. And they had an issue with their gym, and so the game has been moved to Harrisburg, and that will be at 7 p.m. Friday night.
Yeah, and then so we will go to the boys' game. I guess we're coming home and then going to the girls' game.
Yeah,
so
I think
it'll be
so.
Action-packed weekend of basketball. Hope you guys can come, but if you can't, we understand. We will be audio streaming the game because, Misha.
We got to follow Misha rules. And then Saturday, the girls will be in Owensville, playing Owensville. I think they're like the Dutch girls or something like that. And that game will be Saturday at 5 p.m.
Awesome.
So road trip weekend. You could get us there really fast, right?
Yeah. So if I'm behind, you can just come get me in the car and we just go. I'll pay tickets.
Yeah, that's
you may lose your license, but I'll pay the tickets. So.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Hey, so like I said, we are out here with Braxton. And we're going to talk about, and we've wanted to do this show for so long. Yeah. I'm glad we're making it happen.
And what a great evening. We're just hanging out in your garage with all your cars, big doors open. And, it's just beautiful. It's so exciting.
It is.
Yeah. Do you spend most of your time out here?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah. What are you doing when you're out here? Or fiddling with cars or?
Working on them, doing tires, everything.
Yeah. So the racing takes up a lot of your time, but it seems to me maybe even the extra there's so much that people don't see that takes a lot of your time as well.
6 out of the 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to go back a little bit, and we want to go back to a young Braxton when you're just a itty bitty. Just messing with you.
I'm still itty bitty, but it's all right.
No, you're. But what got you into this sport, and what was the first time? Your first race. What was it like for you? Do you remember that?
Briefly, what got me into it was Dad raced, Grandpa raced. I've been around it since I was born, and then it's weird because I wanted to be a cowboy at first. Well, that didn't work. So we went to the second resort, and this is where we sit now.
Yeah.
Well, there's that Bon Jovi. Sorry, I have that song. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. So you're still kind of a cowboy.
I mean, in a way, yes.
Yeah. So Dad, Grandpa, you all raced.
Just kind of in your blood then, huh?
Yeah.
So you grew up probably in a garage just like this, hanging out with Dad and Grandpa?
In a garage, or on Saturdays I'd ride with them in the car.
Oh, wow.
Before the races.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. As you were just checking out everything and making sure everything was running smoothly.
Did your dad ever strap your car seat up top and let you go on a race with him?
No, but thinking about it now, he probably could have.
Yeah.
I bet Mom would have had something to say about that, maybe.
So I don't know if you're a very competitive family as far as I know you're when you're racing, absolutely.
Right.
But we interviewed the Moores, Titus and Marcus. Their whole family was there, and they were talking about how competitive they get when they get together. What about you, Dad and Grandpa, when you're together? Are you are you guys competitive in that way? Are you sharing ideas? I mean, what's that conversation like?
Grandpa said he's going to beat me since I've started, and I've yet to see it, but I guess we'll see what happens. Dad, I mean, it's more of me and him go idea to idea, and it just whatever works the best, really.
How great being able to just share that knowledge, and
Right.
their wisdom from racing for so long, and then now you, as a young racer, already get to have an impact of
Right.
that. So out of your family, who else is still racing when you go racing? Is it just you now?
Just me, yeah.
Okay. I
Just
felt
me.
like at one time we went to Monette and
We
maybe
did.
there was 2 of you, and it was several years back, maybe like,
It was, it was me and Dad.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Dad's last race was the first race I've ever won in a big car.
Oh,
wow. How special is that? That's really cool.
So they kept saying from Rogersville, Missouri, and
We didn't know you yet
Yeah,
at
we
that
didn't
time.
know
you.
And so
Right.
we're like, who's from Rogersville? Because we were in Monette at the dirt race track there.
so
yeah,
we-
John told me about that when I came in your office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we looked you guys up, and kind of been following your racing
Right.
from there. But I love that track because every time you're getting dirt on your face.
Oh, yeah.
It's blowing
Yeah.
dirt. In
You
your
feel
face,
it
and
as you leave.
you kind of feel
Yeah.
like you're part of the action a little bit. So
So,
let's-
yeah,
go
I was
ahead.
going to
Go ahead.
say, so what are some of your favorite racetracks? Or tell us some of the racetracks that you are at now.
Oh, I've been to Springfield, Monette, Arkansas, North Central, and then I went to one in Arcoma. It was in Oklahoma. I've been to indoor races, which those were in go-karts. I'd say out of my favorite ones, probably Springfield so
Okay.
far.
Yeah.
What do you like about that track?
I mean, it's just that's where we go every week, and it's a nice facility. It's good racing, just all around a good track.
Yeah.
So it almost feels probably like home field advantage because
Right,
you're so
right.
comfortable with it and visit it so much.
Right.
I know this takes a team. I mean, for you race several races
Mm-hmm.
on that one day, but it takes an entire team to get you to where you're at. Talk to us a little bit about who's on your team, who's supporting you, who's giving you advice, who's fixing the car, in between races.
Most of the time, it's just me, Mom, Dad, my sister. Grandma and Grandpa will come on the weekends. I have friends. I have some friends that'll help sometimes whenever they're free. In the shop, it's mostly just me and Dad, like on the weeks or fixing the car or whatever it is. It's usually just me and Dad because we get it done the quickest and we don't want to sit around and wait. But
And probably you're a little particular. I'm like that
Yeah.
when I'm
Yeah.
doing a job, and
there's times I don't even get to touch the car. But
Dad knows best.
But yeah, it's just all my sponsors and everybody. We have a big support team behind us.
And I know you've played a few different sports, but you have now just dedicated your sports career to racing.
Right.
You talk about you and your dad in the garage. One of my favorite things to do is catch for Bella. So that's a personal relationship to where those are memories that are gonna last
Right.
forever.
Yeah, that's really cool.
When you guys are out here tinkering, what kind of things are you guys talking about? Is he teaching you? Is he showing you? Or
Is it music blaring and
Yeah.
you're just kind
A
of in your
lot
zone?
of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
what's on the playlist?
Everything you could think of.
Yeah.
Yes.
All sorts
Everything.
of genres,
Yes.
country, rock, everything.
Yes.
Is your dad really big into rap?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's really big into it, but put on the right song, yeah.
Like the old, yeah. That's me. I don't know
Yeah.
any of the new stuff, but the old stuff I can pretty much quote. So
Yeah. So walk us through, like, when you were younger, what were kind of the levels or the steps that you get into? So you talked a little bit about indoor racing, golf carts,
Right.
or not golf carts, but
Go-karts.
Yeah,
Golf.
go-karts. I didn't mean golf carts.
that would be cool
That would
too,
be
though.
fun.
I mean, we could try that.
They
That
could
sounds
have,
fun.
like-
We'll start a whole new level.
Because I'm going to ask you here in a little bit about the different types of cars because I don't, I don't understand that.
Right.
But in the go-kart league, you could have go-karts, advanced golf carts.
Yeah.
You
We
know-
could,
Yeah.
like, soup them up with a really
Yeah,
tight
just
motor.
put a dirt tire on 'em, yeah.
Sorry,
I know. I didn't mean to say that.
no,
So what was kind of your levels as you advanced? So when you first started, to now.
I first started in go-karts, which there's different classes. So you can start out in the rookie class. I forget what age group it is. And then you can go to junior 1 and then junior 2. And then I think we went to junior 3. We quit at junior 3, went to a Legend, which is that car right there behind John.
Okay.
And then we raced that for 2 or 3 years. And then we got a Midwest mod, which is what I'm in right now. And I've been in that for a full year and a half.
Wow. Okay.
We're going on our second year.
We're talking so many cars. I'm just going to lob this one up and it's an easy setup. But if you're looking for a new car or a new truck, go see MDP Motors. They are right over there behind the Chinese place and behind the strip mall I'm in. If they don't have the car or truck you need, give them a call, and I'm sure that they could find them. So
absolutely.
Point number 1.
Point JP. 1 goes to John. Okay, that was tricky. Come on, Braxton, we got to do better.
Yeah, you guys. That was an easy one, though.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, that was good. Smart.
I was zoned out.
No. So going up through those leagues, is there like a ranking system, like every week that you're ranked this rank or this rank, and
for the whole season? Like
it's just it goes off your race finishes. So whatever you finish that race, is where you'll be in the point standings. Or if you get DQ'd or something, then it'll dock you a whole bunch of points. So it just goes off your race finishes every week, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I'm reading your sign back here, and I love it. The Young Gun. Mm-hmm. That is your racing nickname,
right.
or what we'd call you. So you are the Young Gun out there. I mean, when you're looking around, there's typically not very many, if any, people your age racing. How do the older drivers? Is there a little bit of, hey, the young buck's doing this, or I mean, how do you have relationships? Do you have guys that you're competitive with and rivals and things like that?
There's some of it that'll take it humbling, and then there's some of it that don't like it at all. So you just got to take the good with the bad and just keep going.
Yeah. Has your crew chief ever had to go knock someone out because they put you in the wall or something?
We got close last year, but no.
See, that's what you need to hire, like me and Ryan, the 3 of us.
Right, yeah.
We'll go, hey,
oh my,
that wasn't nice. And
yeah.
I mean, the guy was 80. We would have felt kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there guys out there, and I know we mentioned your dad and your grandpa, but are there guys out there that come up to you and give you advice and help you along the way? Or is it just so competitive no one talks?
No, there is there's people that Grandpa and Dad used to race with that have helped us out a lot throughout the years. The guy that helps us now, he's Dad's age or older, and he's super helpful. Whether I think if we were in the same class, whether I beat him or not, he'd still be able to help me every week and take it personally fine.
That's nice.
Humbling and saying, hey, you earned that race, and I can take that. Yeah. We know the Esseries. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And the Mooneyhams.
And the Mooneyhams, yep.
Do you ever fight with them?
No. No.
I got some inside before you. No, I'm kidding.
So you talked about, obviously, the car setup and having a good car is extremely important. But how do you practice or hone in and get better on your skill as a driver? So what does that look like?
I have it's a race, not a full race car chassis, but it's like a chassis with a seat and a TV with games on it that I can practice with. But other than that, you just wait till the beginning of the year when they have the first couple practices. Take as many of those as you can to your advantage and see what happens.
Okay.
So you have that set up here,
and
that's what we're doing after the show, right?
I already could see where this was going.
We're going to order some post-game pizza, which is my favorite
Braxton,
pizza.
This is too.
Hey, I didn't see that one coming.
I honestly didn't either, but order some post-game pizza, get it delivered out here, because my favorite post-game pizza is, I'm still going to go with the pepperoni, second to the
ultimate cheese.
Ultimate cheese.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Yeah.
Pepperoni,
so
yeah.
we get 2 pepperonis here and then
Ultimate cheese, yeah.
But so you've got this set up.
Right.
How realistic is it as far as, actually driving a course?
It's the only part of it that's not super realistic is it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Like side to side, whereas an actual car moves side to side. But
does it shake in the front or anything like that?
The only times it shakes is on a controller.
Okay.
But like it changes as far as track conditions, or you can set the
Wow.
car up any type of way you want it to be. It's super realistic, just besides it doesn't move back and forth or do all the crazy stuff an actual car does.
Yeah, and that was a great question because I thought about that this morning. I'm like, when I was thinking about this interview, the technology with all sports evolves. I mean, stuff that they're doing today in basketball and football and all that, stuff I would have never dreamed when I played. So I figured you had something,
right.
On a rainy day or, middle of the night, you're wanting to race, So how much good do you think that does for you to be on there and race on that system where?
It helps a lot because, like me personally, I have a problem with fast hand movement, which the faster the hand movement, the more speed you'll scrub off. So it helps me with slowing my hands down, being more consistent, keep it in straight line, and trying not to wreck.
So you're saying, I've got my hand, or you probably don't drive like that, but, the 10 and 2.
Right.
And if you're making a change and you move fast, you're actually hurting yourself by doing that.
Yes.
It's all slow and smooth.
Yep. Okay.
Wow.
It's just
really
little
cool.
movements back and forth, just keeping it consistent.
Yeah.
So on all the racetracks that you are currently on, are they all dirt or a mix of pavement?
They are all dirt.
Okay.
Have you raced pavement before?
I've never raced pavement.
Is that your next progression?
I hope not.
No.
You like the dirt?
Yeah.
Dirt? Okay.
I like the dirt a lot better.
What about the dirt do you enjoy?
The whole feeling of it. The asphalt, I feel like you have more control no matter what, whereas dirt, you're all self-reliant on. That's basically based on how good of a driver you are, if you can hold it or not, whereas asphalt, you have a little bit more to hold you, whereas you don't on dirt.
Yeah.
So it's a little more challenging.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because I would have said the opposite. I would have thought dirt was a little easier, but now you're saying
right.
that. I mean, you drive out here on a country road that's got a lot of gravel. I mean, I can be off the road in 2 seconds.
Sure.
Usually, I'm texting. And
No.
do you ever text and drive your car?
No.
I bet that Eric Farron with Shelter Insurance would not appreciate that whatsoever.
No, why would he not appreciate
No,
that?
if you need car, house insurance, give Eric Farron a call because he is your shield and he is your shelter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes in your house, things go awry, especially in the dead of winter and the heat of summer. So you need to call Julian's Heating and Air.
Yeah.
If you're hot or if you're cold, that's your own fault. Give them a call. They'll come out and fix your HVAC system.
I haven't been sure what system I need to be running this week.
I know.
Heat and then later air.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's several different conditions, like weather conditions you can race in. Is there ever one that they say it's done? We're not doing it because of the dirt, or is it? Hey, it
gets too wet, or
That's most of the time what it is. The only time they cancel is if it rains a whole bunch and it's super muddy, or I've known some tracks to cancel just because it's so hot and they don't want people out there in the heat or whatever.
Well, I'm sure you as a driver too, you have to be careful.
Right. There was a track in New Mexico, and I think they raced in January, and they had to cancel because of snow one day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that would be actually kind of fun. I guess not your dad's probably thinking, nope. That car costs too much money. But anyways, when you're doing that and you're there and you're waiting. Well, you're not waiting at a starting line. You're doing your laps, your warm-up laps. When you're coming up on that flag, what is going through your head? Are you strategizing, or are you reading the conditions as you go?
There's not a whole lot of thinking at all. You just go.
Yeah.
Just hope for the best. You don't think, you just react.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pretend that it is race day. Walk us through your typical day. How do you set up? How do you get ready? What kind of feelings are going through as it's getting closer and closer to go time?
There's some days I'll feel good and I'll wake up about 9. There's also some days I'll wake up about 1 and I'll come out here and the car's already loaded. So it just depends. But most of the time we just load the car, or we'll load the car the night before, and then we'll go to the gas station before, get fuel, whatever, food, and then we'll go to the racetrack, do whatever work we have left over to do there, and just wait and get more nervous as it comes closer.
Where do you get your fuel from?
Shell.
At the pump?
Mm-hmm. Which the race car fuel, there's a barrel back there that we get it from.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I should have clarified that.
No, yeah, the race car fuel, we'll get it out of a jug.
Okay.
Barrel.
Is it so? It's a special mixture, or I honestly don't know anything about it. What does that do for you? Does it keep the engine cleaner running at that high capacity, or is it designed to burn quick? And
it just keeps it makes it run better, whereas it's cleaner, doesn't get as much stuff in the carburetor, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool.
You're making, you've started out, you've went through your day. You do some practice laps, right?
Right.
So you're there for your first race. Have you ever, and do you still get butterflies if you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time.
What makes you? What are you thinking about? What are the butterflies from? The danger of the sport,
excitement,
yeah.
the adrenaline.
I mean, it's not really the danger, because, I mean, as safe as the cars are, it's just a game you have to play with the sport. I honestly don't know what the nerves come from. They just hit me at once.
I think if you have something that you're truly passionate about and you want to do well at, then, I mean, it just comes from that.
You can't tell me Michael Jordan, his last time winning a championship, Game 7, didn't go into that game without butterflies. And I think that's the competitive side of you saying, you've got all this stuff coming and you want to win so bad that it's, but
so every athlete, goes through good and bad times. Can you talk to us about, both of those things? What has been a challenge that maybe you have had to overcome in a race season, and what has been like your most memorable moment so far?
I'd say the most challenging, honestly, any of it's a challenge, but probably the worst of it is if you have a good car, or you have a good chance, and everything possible that weekend does not go your way. Everything possible.
Yeah. And sometimes just completely out of your control, or due to another driver or something that happens. Yeah.
I'd say the highlight, or the best part of it, would be after I lost my best friend in December of last year. I came back and won the very first race last year, and I hadn't raced, I don't think, very much since he had been with me. So then that happened, and then I come back the very next year and win the first race, not knowing anything that was going to happen or how it was going to go.
How special. So that one will definitely be hard to ever replace. That's awesome.
So when you're and all athletes, once again, do this sort of thing, you can get into a funk, like let's say you go out and one of those bad weekends happens, to where you pull up and from the moment you are off the trailer, everything's going wrong, you lose the race. Have you conditioned yourself, or have you always been good at being able to come back to it and lock back in and say, that race is in the past, this is my race now?
Yes, most of the time if we have a bad night or whatever, it's pretty quiet on the way home. But most of the time we can come back the very next weekend and win. I mean, it's just some days you have those days, you just got to throw them out the window and just keep going.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say absolutely just real life lessons right there, you know. So, yeah. So how do you kind of give yourself a moment to just be quiet and take things in and let emotions maybe cool down, and then do you and Dad and Grandpa kind of just talk about things and, hey, we could have done this differently, or do you have any sort of like film maybe that you even look at or something like that?
I mean, not really. I try not to calm down too much because that's when I really get nervous. But and me and Dad talk about it sometimes, but there's also times where I have a super short fuse, so we get absolutely nothing accomplished, and it's bad from the start. But there's also other times where we can talk about it, we can fix it, and go out and be just as good as we were before, or if not better. Yeah.
Well, it's almost just kind of like your dad is your coach, and then he has to put coach hat on and then take it off and put dad hat on, you know, and that's really cool.
Do you guys have those moments, you and your family, where everybody just is quiet because they know you don't want to be talked to, or are you guys pretty good at saying, hey, you know, taking the celebration home and being excited, or, you know, you had a loss and being able to just like go to your own place, or because I see so many kids get in cars after games and dads and moms are like, you know.
Right. No, last year we had all three of those. There was times where we felt like we had it, we just didn't have it, and it was quiet, but at the same time, it was trying to find everything we could to get better. And then there was times where I would get wrecked last year, I'd come in and they'd know not to talk to me. And then there was times where we'd win and it'd all be good and it'd be the happiest time on the way home. But there was all three last year. There can always be all three, or there can be a year with the one of it never going your way. You just got to take it and
push through.
Move on. Yeah,
persevere. Yeah. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your car and what makes it special? Are you allowed to like share the modifications and things that you've made to it, or is that a secret? I don't know.
Aren't they all pretty governed?
I mean, it depends on who's watching it.
Mooney hams, turn off.
Yeah.
We can blur your face on there if you want to talk to us.
Honestly, there's nothing really that makes it special. It's just like the rest of them. But the one thing I'd say that makes it special is probably the number, the 58 after the 34, which is Landis's number. That other than that, it's like all the rest of them, really.
Okay.
I mean, there's some that are nicer than others, but there's also some that are not as nice as others and still go out and do just as good or beat you every weekend.
Yeah, and so kind of going along with Alicia's question, there's certain levels, you know, and I when I went to that race in Monette, they would say, hey, here's the funny cars or the
late models
and stuff. Can you walk us through those different classes and what that means?
Most people start out in a Legend, which is shorter wheelbase, which is harder to drive. And
that's the one right behind us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I started out in those because we heard from a lot of people that if I could drive one of those, I could drive anything. So I started out in one of those, and then I went to a modified, and it was, I mean, I could steer it with one finger.
Wow.
It was so much easier. And then after that, you can go to a B-Mod, which is the next step up, which is bigger motor, shocks, stuff like that, which we have a spoiler where B-Mods can't. And then you can go to an A-Mod, which is like the traveling guys with the ones that travel racing modifieds. And then you can go to a late model, which most of those guys are ones that race for a living, along with sprint car guys. That's all they do is race, and 24/7, 365 days a year.
What was the because I just went blank. I was going to mention him earlier. The documentary we watched about Dale Earnhardt and
Betty?
no,
Oh, no.
Michael. They're brothers.
Waltrip.
Waltrip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like watching those because I've obviously to me Dell
One of the legends.
and
Yeah.
his brother. I like because I kind of like that kind of style. You've been around forever, but that guy will kick your butt in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And everybody had that respect for him. But watching those shows, they all start out at just the same way you did, like with the go-karts and then the dirt tracks. Where do you see yourself? Because we talked in the office about this a little bit, but where do you see yourself in the future?
I'd like to think I see myself racing for a living. There's no way if I can tell if I will for sure or not. It's just depends on how I perform or the way I do the stuff that I'm supposed to do is what depends on if I race for a living or not.
Yeah. How old are you? You're 17?
17, yeah.
So I don't know too many 17-year-olds that spend 7 days a week working on their passion in a lot of sports. So to me, and this is just a statement, it's not a question, and it's like you can do what you want to do. You can get better. I mean, I have no doubt. I was thinking about this because I was going to joke with you. Do I get the same sponsorship contract when you're in NASCAR?
Yeah.
I mean, at the same rate.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
I've got it on tape. So, no, but I mean, there's, with a lot of sports, there's so much more to it than just that. But you're responsible for every aspect of that race. You know, so that's a lot. That's a huge commitment to a young 17-year-old that that's your passion.
Yeah.
You can definitely see it. So
Absolutely. Talk to us about maybe the closest race that you've ever been in, and maybe you had a photo finish. The ninja from Green Box Photography may have even been there to catch it. I don't know.
That is weak. That is weak. That was
I felt like that was really good.
Yeah. Did we give her half a point? No, you get the point.
But what has been like your closest, race? Have you had one that's been really tight up into the end?
I mean, not really, no.
Just kind of get out there and set your pace.
Usually once I get out, I just don't look back. And it's
everybody else's dust.
There was one last year where I think I ran second 15 out of the 20 laps. And then there was a caution with 5 to go. And I think I passed the leader with 2 laps to go.
Wow.
I think that's the closest one I've been in. How
do the cautions kind of affect you as a racer? How can they impact the race as a whole?
Well, if you're winning, you definitely don't want to see one. If you're at second, you like to see one. Or anywhere from second on back, you'd like to see one. Now, people in the stands probably don't like to see them, but it's a different story. They can impact you huge because you got to keep the tires warm, but that way they don't seal over to get grip, which to take off faster.
Is that why you guys are always kind of
moving the wheel? And
it's to keep them warm so they don't seal up and keeps the pores open and easier to take off. If you're leading and there's a caution, you just got to keep your mind set and just take off and hope for the best, really.
Yeah.
Do you have like an earpiece or anything in your helmet where Dad can talk to you?
No.
No. Okay. Is that not
Is that
allowed
legal?
or?
It's not legal?
Okay.
Oh.
The only person talking to me is the guy on the flag stand, and I get tired of hearing that.
Oh.
The guy in the what?
The flag stand.
What is? You can hear him?
Yeah.
Like over the loudspeaker, everybody?
Well, it's like my helmet comes with speakers that's built in it, so I just plug my little thing in, and he just talks to us.
Oh.
Mostly, he talks to the class that's on the track, whereas if you still have your thing plugged in, anybody can hear it. But he's only talking to the people on the track, which there's a difference between talking and yelling. Most of the time we get the yelling. But
so
that would be annoying.
Is he warning you sometimes, like, hey, you're too wild or something?
I've been warned, yes.
Have you?
I have been warned many a time.
Have you ever been black flagged?
No.
Isn't that a thing where you're penalized, you're out?
I think I got black flagged one time in go-karts.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, because I was going to say that would be so cool to be able to mount something in here. I mean, if it didn't take away from your racing and mic you up, because it wouldn't go anywhere but our recording. But obviously we wouldn't want to.
I mean, there's probably a way you could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you get first and they're like, "Oh, you had a mic," and it's my fault,
right?
I'll feel really
you wouldn't
bad.
let that down.
I'll say, "Don't worry, we'll get you the audio."
Okay. Yeah, that would be super cool.
That would be so cool.
So, what's the environment like at these? Because all I know is NASCAR, and in the Monette one, you guys go behind a wall.
The pit, right?
Well, in the pit, yeah, but you can't see you guys very well from back there.
Right.
Is everyone hovered around your car, getting it ready for the next race, or you guys just kicked back, kind of, everything's done, we're waiting till that next race? What's the mood like?
I mean, most of the time we're as soon as I come in, the tires come off and we work on it. But after we get done working on it, like Mom and Sis will go sit in a trailer, or sometimes we'll all just go watch the races until we get close to me, and then we'll get ready. But other than that, it's just you work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making sure every little piece is just the way you.
Which I always find a way to get food in, but.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But you got to. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about what do you usually eat on race days? Do you have some things that are traditions that you eat? Do you have Mom make you something special?
Most of the time, it's Dr. Pepper and energy drinks.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey,
hence our conversation before the show, right?
I mean, you're at that age where you can get away with that. Me, myself, and not so much. So, I had a question and I just lost it.
Oh, sorry. Those nights are usually pretty long nights, too.
Yes.
So, about what time you arrive, like midday, like 2 or 3 o'clock? Or
most of the time, we leave here around 3, which we'll get to Springfield like 3:30 to 4. But by the time it gets done, it's always just different times.
Yeah.
There's never like a set time.
What I was going to ask is, we were talking about the safety aspect of the cars. I've got 2 questions. I'll ask about the tires first. You say you pull the tires off. Is there something special you're doing to them, or are you just changing them?
We just grind them. That's all. We just take the sanding pad and grind them over, and then put it back on the car.
Because you're looking for that coarseness in the tire?
Yeah, you got to get back down.
To be able to grip the track, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a limitation on how much you can do to that?
Mm-mm.
No? You can put snow chains on there or something? You ever think
I
about
don't know
that?
about snow chains,
Think about that? I mean, I don't know
you might
too
not
much.
want to add him to your crew.
No, my second question was on the safety aspect. When once again we went to that race in Monette, I mean, I was dying. I'm sitting there in stands drinking a Mountain Dew. I shouldn't have been, but
yeah, it was hot.
It was hot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a suit that's for your protection. What is that like? I mean, are you burning up? I mean, can you feel that in the car, or are you just so used to that?
Usually the suit's soaked. But like my helmet has a vent on the top where you can hook a little like hose to it, and you flip a little lever and it'll push air through it, which you get circulation through there. But other than that, you just got to burn up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Deal with it.
But you get to drop that when you're done.
Yeah,
correct?
You can. Yeah.
But those are for if you catch on fire, correct?
So they're fireproof.
Yep.
Because there was a car that caught on fire when we were there. You remember? It hit right where we were at. I'll tell you, Monette's a little scary because that safety. I mean, there's holes in there. There's all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, I don't think if a tire comes off or a car crashes, that's going to stop anything.
No.
But so I felt like a racer.
It used to be a little shaggy.
Yeah. But no. So you've got that. Anything else that that you think is a huge safety aspect of your car, like when you're racing? I know they continuously make changes and rules.
Right. Usually the safety stuff stays the same. You got to have your helmet. You got to have your fire suit, your shoes, and your gloves. The only thing that really you get to choose yourself is what kind of neck brace you wear.
Okay. So it goes right here?
Most of the neck braces, they'll just go right here. But like mine, it'll go right here, and then it has stuff on the sides where you can hook it to the helmet and then go to the front, and it goes all the way around my
chest.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wondered that. I mean, so that's designed. I mean, you're racing at the speed you're racing, and you hit a wall. I mean, there's severe whiplash, you know, but that would prevent that, correct?
Yeah.
I want to talk about something that I don't know if Mom wants me to talk about because I heard, and I totally understand, but Monette, go back to Monette. One of your biggest crashes was on that course, correct?
No.
Lucas
Oil Speedway.
Tell us. I want to go through that because I don't think we're doing it justice by having a show without kind of talking about that aspect of every time you get in the car. You know, I mean, you have those. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you kind of have like steps that you do to get out, and you kind of want to get out quickly, or?
I don't want to tell him.
It all just depends on what kind of wreck you have. So, like when I wrecked at Lucas, I flipped 7 times, which was all the way down the back stretch of Lucas. I was kind of dazed, so I didn't really know what had happened or kind of where I was at. It took me a minute to come back to, but once I did, you just climb out and move on.
Were there already people on top of? I mean, there.
They get there
quick.
As
soon as I crashed and I felt it come to a complete stop, it's like I just looked up and they were all there.
Was Mom hopping racing cars and stuff?
No.
So you didn't?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but have you guys gotten used to, you know, because didn't in Monette you flew off the side over there?
2 times, same night.
Remember we kept saying, like, if someone goes off that, where do they go?
It's like in the woods.
You know? And
you go to a big pile of rocks.
Okay, good to know.
That's where you go.
I was wondering.
Are you guys have you gotten pretty, and we're talking Mom and Dad here. They're not mic'd up, but have you guys kind of got used to that aspect of it and you don't run right away or react anyway, or you just?
Personally, I feel like he's safer in that than he is
Yeah.
truck going down the highway.
100%.
That's true.
Yeah.
He cannot move once he is
Strapped in.
in that seat. So unless the car blows up and the seat flies out,
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I think he's more safe.
More safe. Yeah.
I don't mind. Once I know he's okay, then I hate to admit it, but then I just get upset because I just see dollar signs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As the company owner, you know, you've got to do that.
So, like, the first wreck, which was at Lucas, which is the first wreck I had ever had, like, bad. I think Grandpa was the first one that seen it was me. And then Mom and Dad came down there. And then the second wreck, which was at Springfield, I flipped on top of the wall, which was my 3rd race in a modified. And I was kind of confused, and then I lifted my head up, kind of got out, and everybody was clapping, and I look over, and then I go back and watch the video, and Dad just puts his head down and shakes his head.
Oh.
But once again, he knew you were okay before. I mean, he did clarify that.
And he probably, when he got back, went and got you some Advil from Rogersville Pharmacy, I bet you.
Oh, my gosh. That was good. I'll give that one to you.
Oh, gosh, yeah. If you have any sort of needs, Jim Coker is always there with shenanigans. And
someday, if you're over in my area, stop by. I'll take you when I go pick up her meds. Like, we will take our shirts off and run around the pharmacy a few times. I mean,
you may not want to be witness to that.
No, but it's hilarious. It's this tradition we started way back.
Yeah. And now when I go pick up my own medicine, they're like, "Oh, where's John?" And I'm like, "Sorry." Do you have a favorite, like, professional racer?
Yeah.
My favorite one is Ricky Thornton Jr.
Okay.
What do you like about him?
He's humble. It doesn't matter if he wins, loses, wrecks, whatever it is. He's always humble. Anytime you watch any of his Victory Lane interviews or anything like that, he's just super down to earth, doesn't brag, doesn't anything like that. If he loses, he takes the loss, goes home, tries to get better the next day. Whereas most of the guys, you get some of them that win, and you'll think they just hung the moon, and then you'll get ones that lose and throw an absolute temper tantrum.
Yeah.
So, but he's all around. He's level-headed. He's down to earth, and it's a good guy all around.
Yeah. So, in that, I can tell that's what kind of person you are. And I go back, you came into my office one day to see about a sponsorship, and I went straight home and I was like, that kid is, that was an awesome presentation. Once again, not, I know you're a young man, but you're 17. Nowadays, you can't get 17-year-olds to go in person for an interview, let alone
or
walk
make a
into
phone
an
call.
office.
Yeah.
But you were there. But the neat thing about that is you weren't necessarily really talking about how good a driver you were. You were saying, here's all all this information in a nice binder. Which we need to take his advice.
And he's been talking about the little car that he brought in too.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I didn't realize that it had a door. I thought that was what it said on. And then your dad had said, "Did you get the car in the door?" And I'm like, "I got the car." I don't know why, but I said it on the door. So now it's like, there's my filing. I got a 4 ring pile or filing thing. I put all the stuff out of that top one, and I got your race car sitting right there. So, anyways.
So what would you tell some young rider or some young maybe future racers? What advice would you give them? I know I have one of my colleagues at school. Her son has begun starting to race. So what would be some pieces of advice you would give them?
Just no matter how hard it gets or how tough it gets, you just got to take it to heart and try to get better. If it's something you're truly interested in and want to do on a professional level, you have to realize the work that goes into it. If you get offered help, take it. It doesn't matter who it's from. Because even if it's somebody that has no idea what they're talking about, you'll find the right one sooner or later. So take any help you can get. Just stay calm. Just don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
awesome.
ever see yourself? I know you're pretty young now, but do you ever see yourself kind of helping in that department? Like you have a young driver here in Rogersville, and you might go to his race or her race and say, "Hey, I've got some pointers for you."
I mean, I don't really have any like kids that I do that with, just because I don't really know any. I'd say the only person that like really pays attention to me that I've heard of is the guy that helps me on my car, his 2 sons, which I've heard they pay a lot of attention. So I just try to put the best impression of myself in for them, just so they know what to look forward to and the type of person to be.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
I say this to all the athletes because I want to remind them that they may not come up and ask you about your car.
Right.
They may not come up and ask you about racing because but you got kids out there watching you right now, and they're like, "Man, we got a race car driver. He's in high school." And
Yeah. How cool is that?
the fact that you're such a good representation of our community, and our businesses and the school and all that, you might have started something here at Rogersville that in several years we've got several racers, So
I was going to ask you, so you talked about several tracks that you currently are racing. If you could have any track in the whole wide world that you would like to race on, what track would that be for you?
Probably Eldora, which is in Ohio, or the Dome in St. Louis.
Wow. Are they just monster big tracks?
The one in Ohio is, and then the Dome in St. Louis is in the old Rams Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
So it's inside.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be
That
cool.
would be so
And
cool.
For that race, you have to be a race car driver. If you're not, there's really no business in being there.
So with your point system, like, we're talking about, you're just starting your season. So from now on, you're ranked week by week by point system.
Yeah.
what does that qualify you like? What's the qualifications in that? You know, I know like first, second, third, fourth, whatever is. If you finish in top 5, you get to go on and do something else to a major race, or
No, it's just you go off your weekly average, and then they'll just put it in the computer, and it'll calculate you to wherever your points are. The only way you can go to like big races is really just if you want to, which there's like the sanction that we run is Power I, so there's Power I Nationals, but you don't get invited to it. You just, if you want to go, you go. If not, then oh well.
so you could go to these bigger races,
Yeah.
the dome, and race if you wanted. Then
No, so like the dome, you have to get invited.
Okay, that's
Okay.
So like
invitation.
the dome has modifieds and late models. So late model anybody can go, and then modified you have to get invited to go.
and you don't have a late model, do you? No.
Not
Okay.
yet.
That's
See, I'm learning. What?
not
yet.
yet.
Dad's like,
that's
oh,
right.
gosh. Oh gosh.
Not
well,
yet.
you continue to present the way you presented to me, and you're gonna have something really nice. So
Yeah.
would
Do you have a schedule of your races for the year?
Not yet. We don't.
Okay.
We don't have like a full set up schedule completely.
Okay.
But we have. I think more and more schedules are starting to come out on each track.
Okay. If you get that, will you share it with
Yeah.
us? I'd love to post
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And then-
because we had a young man, Creek,
Oh yeah, Creek
Creek
Young.
which is, you know, he does something that's really extraordinary,
Right.
Yeah.
and he has
The
one-
cowboy thing worked out for him.
That cowboy thing did work out for him.
I'm telling you, you need to have that like I can't say it. Bon Jovi. There we go. That was kind of our song when I was in the military, because we were
Right.
always coming in on helicopters. So, but it works so much better for
I mean,
you.
depending on the track, some nights you have to be a cowboy.
Yeah. Do you so do you ever get cross with, you know, like I only know movies, man. Like,
Right.
you know, Rubbin's Racing, you know, that sort of stuff. I'm sure you've seen that. Is there ever a time that someone's grinding you, you know, like in the car or messing around with you?
That affects your race.
Yeah, that affects your race, and they're doing it intentional.
If they're doing it intentional, then yeah. If they're doing it intentionally, I have a short fuse and it's not very good. But if it's just racing, I know I can easily do the same thing back
Right.
on accident. So you just have to take it. But like last year, there was a couple times where people would do it intentionally and it was not very pretty. But it's just, if it's not intentional, then there's really no reason to be mad. But if it's intentional, it's a different story.
Yeah, it seems like there would be, you know, like if you're a post player in basketball, you're both battling for
Right.
that ground, and it gets physical. Like at the end of a race, if you're 1 and 2, those situations occur. That's not, to me, wouldn't be intentional. It's just, hey, we're battling for the same piece of real
Yep.
estate, you know. But yeah, that's exciting when I'll tell you what, like that's the most exciting time, and I don't care. I don't know any of the drivers when I watch, but I always love watching, you know, that end of the moment of the race. So,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
do you have a favorite race movie?
Not really, no.
No.
I mean, they're all pretty good, but I've watched so many of them I've lost track.
How close to reality is Talladega Nights?
Not very.
No. Have you never ran on the track in your underwear saying, "I'm on fire"?
I've thought about it, but no.
That would be cool. Like so.
I'm trying to give you one here. What's your favorite sponsor on your car?
B&B Well and Pump.
Oh,
That is, yes.
I
did get that one.
Yeah. Hey, if you got issues with your well or pump, we know some guys.
Yeah, we know some people.
We're actually out there, and this is your parents' company, and I'm sure you've.
do you kind of help Dad with that?
There's some days where I'll go help him,
Someday, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too this morning, and like how technical that job is.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know, you guys know. I mean, it's second nature to you, but like. To me, I'm like, where would you even start?
Yeah.
You know, like or how did that come about? Like in the olden days, you know, like, oh, there's some water there. You know, I know my grandma always swore by the stick thing there,
Oh.
and it would like do this.
Yeah.
For water?
Is that do you believe that?
The water part, I don't. A lot of the Amish do it, like, still today.
Yeah.
I went for water lines. I can tell where a water line's at by doing that.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's impressive.
It's
It's witchcraft. Kind of like you're when I get sick and you're trying to rub my forehead with like
Peppermint.
bat of eye and tongue of nude or something. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Which, like, some of my races, I forgot to mention that some of them, it's not that they don't pay the best, but there is some of them that pay pretty good, which Citizens Bank of Rogersville would probably like
Oh my. He's on it
they'd
now.
probably like to have the winnings.
high five that one. That was he just nailed it.
Add some money in your savings
Yeah.
account there.
Yep, that's awesome.
That's right. Oh my gosh. You have been just so much fun. I
Yeah.
have just absolutely loved this show and just historic show.
Yeah, it is a
One of a
historic
kind out
show,
here.
and we have the luxury of someday, when you're big time. Now, don't forget the contract we talked about. That would be really neat. I get to go back and say, hey, I knew that kid,
Right.
Yeah.
when he was not really starting out, but that would be something.
I think with, like, most people, a lot of people that have been racing for a while, like the saying, you remember where you came from. So, like,
Yeah.
if you make it big, you still have to remember at one point where you were at, the people that stood behind you, even when you were at that point. Where I feel like most people now kind of forget where they started at, or kind of forget the people who stood behind them, even when they weren't at their best.
Yeah. And I think that's what's unique with racing is I think it's one of the most, you don't see a lot of like in the NBA, I'm wearing this $5 million suit
Right.
and stuff. It's more about just connecting one-on-one with the
It's
fans.
a community and yeah.
And you guys, everybody wants to meet you and you turn
Right.
out and they meet you and they're like, wow, he's just one of us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great racer, but one of us. And they're just, every race is so patriotic. I mean,
Yeah, I love that part of it.
if sporting events did the same thing that you did, I would enjoy them so much, that racing does, because they really take time and dedicate a lot of stuff
Right.
to this country. So such a neat.
So you have to stop by the studio at some point and you have to sign the lockers, because I was
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
that tonight and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, I got to get his signature on something.
I'm not asking for anything expensive, but if you have like some old gloves you drove in or something, or something laying around that you
Old Fender.
an old fender, or,
Go back there to the wreck pile. You'll find a couple of them.
You
like
can sign that
Yeah.
for us.
a steering wheel that's
Yeah.
no, but something like that to where we can put up because we've got
That would be
creeks
so cool. Yeah, we have Creek's hat
hat
he signed.
there. So
That'd be unique just to you.
Yeah, we can
so
find something for
That'd
sure.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one last really kind of statement, and I just want to say thank you for having us out.
Yeah.
And we've wanted to do this for so long because it's fascinating. We cover a lot of sports, but I always like getting into the ones that are just, to me, it's mind blowing what
Right.
you do.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to say thank you for being, you're just a good representation, like I said, of our community. And every time you're out there, people in our community are proud of you and what you've achieved. So, little sister, is she gonna race with you one day?
I doubt it.
No, she's just gonna be a volleyball star.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be scared with her.
Oh my.
anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about
that
a
you
little
wanted
bit?
to share.
I mean, not really. I think we covered it all pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. When you're in the pit crew, or not crew, but in the pits, can you have anyone come out there, or do you have to?
You can buy a pit pass, can't
you can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Is it okay if I come one time? I really want to go back and get some video.
Yeah.
To just put out there too, of you can go back. People can go back and watch the show, and we're trying to describe a scene to them, but I would love to show them the actual scene.
Yeah, which there's some people where if they come back there and they don't get attention or whatever, they get mad. But that's also, once you're there to do one thing, and if you don't get talked to, then you don't get talked to.
Yeah, you need to understand that you have a job to do.
Right.
You're locked in.
Okay, so I make this video, right? What would be the song it needs to go to? Or you can throw out a few.
Young Gun.
Yeah. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
That Bon Jovi song you said, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good little tone you sang right there.
Oh,
Did
no.
you like it?
Don't encourage that.
So I've got a
No.
unique skill I'm trying to go,
Oh, gosh.
get famous with.
Yeah, American Idol, I heard they just came back on. So
Yeah. If
it a
Chain
whirl.
Gang, if ESPN doesn't,
Pick you up.
pick me
Yeah.
up, then we're going to probably do singing. So.
Oh, my.
Well, I want to thank the Rupp family for having us
Yeah.
out here. Like
Yes.
Lisha said, I mean, we could sit out here and have
I
a ball
promise to
all
not
day.
let him. I will make him go home.
She's going to have to make me go home. But again, Braxton, thank you.
Yes, thank you
And,
so much. Thank you, everybody.
Get us a schedule. We'll post
Yeah.
it. And it would be kind of cool if we could do like a pep thing.
Like a Rogersville
Right.
night.
Like have a
Go
bunch
out.
of Rogersville guys and just,
Yeah.
and we can promote that. And that would be a blast. So
Yeah, that was so fun.
don't let them in the pit with us professionals.
No,
So. All right. Guys, thanks for joining
Yeah.
us. Like
We'll
we
be back
said,
Friday night and Saturday.
Yeah. And we'll watch as our Cats take that one last step towards state.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else, Alicia?
No, just go Cats.
Okay, go Cats. Thanks, guys.